My legs are tired from dancing. Why did you make me do that?
I gotta know. I've been watching Des do the dance competitions a few times. Did he, yet again, like go above and beyond and give it beyond his all? Is that what happened again? Of course it is. Take a break. Have a cookie.
I almost did the splits.
Almost.
Alrighty.
Hold on.
I almost did the splits, but I was like, I will rip my pants, so I'm stopping at this point.
Be worried about ripping.
What did I just go into?
Exactly what you think it was. You know me. This is not new.
Please tell me you will write that down for whose line.
You got it.
I would be bored free.
Alright, one last mic check.
Check, check.
Check the microphone.
Cash.
What?
1, 2.
Bitcoin.
Coins.
Monster! You ruined my life!
Ladies and gentlemen, and everyone in between, welcome to a little panel I like to call Fuzzy History. Now, some of you may be confused as to the premise of it. Basically, I have prepared a story from the history of fandom itself, and I'm going to be presenting it to these three lovely panelists, who are Jake Bunny, Alkali Bismuth, and Pandex. The only caveat being, they don't know what the story is going to be about. The dollop eats your heart.
Gary?
This is going to go poorly.
It's Floof, thank you. Alright, so. For those curious about the sun change of attire, if you had seen me earlier today, I just want to say, Dalton Stevens, our hearts are with you. You're the man, the woman, whatever you wish to be. And that CEO who got fired, I actually have a prepared statement for the firing of the man who decided to laugh at this young man who just wanted a nice evening with his boyfriend at prom. Here we go. Ha, 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 ha. Come on, scroll down. Ha.
Fair enough.
Very important to get that last part. I mean,
It's the sticking point.
yeah,
But
it's
all right. So, okay. So I kind of have to position this a little bit so you don't cheat. And there's not going to be a prize at the end of the show, don't worry.
He hides NOS in his
if I'm
vehicle.
singing after this, it's
You running nitro method in that?
no comment.
No, he's
I
running
think they're
cones.
talking about passing games.
Summer 2012! Usually that gets a cheer, but tough drought.
Got laid.
So, the summer of 2012. Young Lachlan O'Neill, age 15, was at her parents' home in South Carolina looking over her Tumblr dashboard. That's already a bad sign.
I mean, who remembers Tumblr?
They're going to crack up so easily. Was looking over her Tumblr dashboard when she came across a reblog of a post that caught her eye. Someone was hypothesizing how awesome it would be for Tumblr to host its own fan convention.
No!
Yes! Yes, this is happening. I've been planning this for months. You know how much research I've been doing? For this?
Tumblr is where the porn used to live.
All the good days.
Oh, the good old days.
Alkali, the porn went to the farm. I'm sorry.
Oh, it did go to a farm?
Yeah.
Can we visit the porn?
No, we can't visit the porn.
Why
I'm
can't we
sorry.
visit the porn?
Chair.
The porn lives in a happy little environment all on its own with the, I don't know where I was going.
Childhood puppies.
So
I know the puppies next to the porn, you
So this means our next charity will be the Tumblr porn that desperately needs the furries' help.
I want to hear the On the Wings of an Angel song for a Tumblr porn.
I want to see that. I want to see that.
Are we starting the Furry Save the Tumblr porn campaign?
I mean, are you telling me that doesn't already exist? Because I don't believe you.
I'm pretty sure someone in the room has already created a Kickstarter. Or no fun, one of them.
Save the penis.
This is a 17 up panel, just to confirm.
Oh, God, I just said that now.
I'm not seeing many kids, but I just want to make sure.
This weekend is all about wizards. I have a radius of this is a 17 plus panel around me, so that's just how this spell works.
Oh, don't worry. There's plenty of magic as well, and I'm sure somebody dies. Also, we were only on the second sentence, and we already went off on like 3 tangents there.
Have you met us?
That I took, and this is only supposed to be like a 30-minute document. If I just read it out straight, I'm glad I took 2 hours because I know who I'm talking to.
Good thing
I
cars involved.
took the liberty to drinks me. Like, fair enough.
So, Lachlan began to think about the concept of having hundreds, if not thousands, of like-minded and good-natured people in one spot, engulfed in their pop culture melting pot. As anyone her age would, she thought, yeah, why not? I can totally handle this at 15.
It's that pretty much how a lot of furry cubs like supposedly start.
I'm 27 and I don't think I have most things figured out.
I couldn't handle a job mowing lawns when I was 15.
Right.
Well, it was you should have got the job going snowblowers. Canada.
Oh yeah, right. I forgot.
You know, it
That
is
is
sun
that pretty much is mowing a lawn for Canada. I mean,
We have a summer, all 3 days of it.
Don't you?
So now fan conventions were not a new thing in 2012. The earliest fan convention that could be held in recorded history of the U.S. dates all the way back to 1936 with the Philadelphia Science Fiction Convention known as PhilCon. I wonder if they had batteries there for whenever a scientist said something that, I don't know, somebody from one of the neighboring towns didn't like. It's like, no, he's still a witch! Throw the D-cells! If you've never
was that like the place to like totally like have the true forum for complaining about AC versus DC current?
Oh my God.
He's got a Nikola Tesla flag hanging up in his room, I swear. So,
Man, he has a flag? Did he own a country? Was it America? Could it be America?
it was called Teslavania.
Teslamania. Yeah, don't go there. It's shocking.
Was he in charge?
Nice! That was good. You got the power, man.
What did I say?
Capacitance for all these puns.
That joke was lit.
Oh my God.
Okay, he said, like, can we end early?
Hey, I got a whole hour to film it this with.
Nice! That's off the grid. This is just gonna be the whole battle. It doesn't stop us.
Can we unplug this?
We should
He might need to get like a signal, we
we should switch topics.
Oh my God.
I've been turned off.
Well, let's get back with what's current.
All right.
Don't be so negative.
You are so special, Edison.
I'm using that later.
All you.
I requested these guys.
And don't you feel dumb?
And what did I tell you when you told me you wanted to be here?
I thought we set a limit on puns.
No.
I'm sorry. There is no pun top. This is just. You don't restrict the pun. The puns must flow.
All right, let's get our transitions back in order. So, Penny Arcade Expo began in 2004 in Seattle, Washington. And VidCon, the first purely website-inspired fan convention, aside from Penny Arcade, which I just mentioned, thanks a lot for that typo, began in 2010. O'Neill began by organizing a small team of organizers. Again,
High school friends.
yeah, pretty much. Among other teens, as they plotted a fantastic mythical weekend. Mythical being the key word, as neither she nor anyone else knew the first thing about running an event, and we're all underage. So,
There's a lot of parallels here.
Oh, so this is a scary panel.
aren't most things born from unwed, underage owners in this state?
What? Wow. You lost.
I was going for something that I don't know. It might have just been my neighborhood.
I'm going to teach you the word subtle.
We had coffee shops being started on corners by 13-year-olds in my neighborhood. That's
There are so many things wrong with that. Number one being legality.
The parents were dad comes around with the F-150.
I need to get out of Indiana.
Just stay in the parts where the roads are still being worked on, and you'll be fine.
I've driven through your state.
I'm sorry.
You must have enjoyed our state flower, the traffic cone. It's in full bloom this time of year, and the following season, and
So
the following season.
I'm going through the Canadian border when they stop me, and in order to prove I'm an American citizen, they said, "Oh yeah? Well, what's the state motto of Indiana?" And the guy in the back seat of my car goes, "Who the fuck would know that?" By the way, it's the crossroads of America. I know that because I had to visit Canadian Border Patrol.
I'm from this thing. I'm pretty sure it was I need a toe.
Yeah, they changed that recently. Now it's I need an adult.
I am an adult.
That's scary.
Okay, so O'Neill would state how she would have, at the time, only ever previously had attended 2 conventions in her life, both of which being anime fan events in the surrounding area of her neck of the woods in South Carolina. So we're talking like small, probably about the size of IFC, if not smaller.
So a meet.
Yes, essentially. I don't know what they were meeting for.
You know that this convention is 1,000+ people.
Yeah, I was gonna
If you
say.
are calling 999 furries gathering a meet, you're spelling it improperly and
I
that's
mean more.
kinky. Someone got that.
Okay. Her original. She was clearly a dreamer. Her original team had come up with the concept of how major different fan bases could have their niches properly organized for their different panels or their different event booths, so on and so forth. The team conceptualized committees to handle their unique fan bases' needs for panels and other major events. The only foreseeable problem was that each of these fan bases were based on specific IPs and not more generalized subjects such as anime, gaming, fan fiction, television, visual arts, The committees listed on the original Tumblr convention website O'Neill created were as follows. My Little Pony, Doctor Who, BBC Sherlock. I don't know why they specify BBC as well.
It's the last Sherlock. Come on.
It's a really good
Well, there's
Also, there's 15 different BBC Sherlocks.
there's a Sherlock that was on EBC, I believe, at the time.
Yeah.
Oh, well, being in Indiana, we never really had like BBC or anything on most of the TVs around here because you might learn something.
Also, the sentence that concerns me already, it's been a theme here already, but like a conference of teens. The teens formed a conference.
Most of my public youth education was Hayward.
Set in the inner city.
Exactly. You just take like about a third of that inner city, you put it out in the middle of the woods, and there you go. That's how you.
Mine was Doug, and here's my Skeeter.
Oh my god!
What was the neighbor's name? You actually were more like the neighbor.
Oh my god. Dude, I
Let's-
just dug it.
Oh, yeah.
No,
carry on.
I'm just gonna go way off the rails. We got
And
it.
now we're going into the Doug panel of the show, as is tradition. Supernatural, Marvel in general. And speaking of, by the way, this is like 2012. This is before the huge bust of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So forward thinking. So maybe it'll all turn out fine. Homestuck because obviously.
Nerds.
That's the way they call them out. You know that the exits are clearly marked that they can see where you're going as well?
Strong Bad is gonna kick your ass.
Oh, good lord.
Now where's the fast bunny with the cone stuck under his wheelbase?
Well,
I got a couple of words for him from the old group boys.
I'm going to take off these boxing gloves and give you a what for.
what for?
Homestar, leave Jake alone. He's mine.
When I was playing my ogre's voice was Strong Bad combined with Jimmy Stewart. And I shall that is what this voice is. This is Strong Bad and Jimmy Stewart. And this was my ogre for 9 years.
Funny enough, Will Sasso now gets paid to do that for a living. Oh, screw you. We'll find these jokes funny all night. This is more for us now.
Every panel we do is for us. This is the radius of effect of the grenade of stupidity, which we are.
We call this the Tangent Express. Black Butler, Glee, a little combination I like to call Netflix and Chafe.
I love it.
Clearly a 15-year-old can't get everything done by themselves. Yes, they eventually need adults in the picture. Somebody with an ID, a credit card, a sense of urgency, grounding, reality. The problem is they came up with 3 Tumblr admins for adults. The 3 were Megan Eli, Kane Hopkins, and Roxanne Schwetterman. Screw you, Dave Anthony. I actually put the phonetics in here. Do your job. The 3 would take... Oh, sorry?
I appreciate that reference. as an avid fan, I appreciate that reference.
Oh my god. Just listening to the amount of times that people just call him out for mispronouncing things and just completely sandbagging it, I appreciate the tenacity on that man. Because they, like I said, they all have to go through the same doors to exit the building anyway. So, the 3 would take the reins from O'Neill and her group, seeing as how none of them had run a convention before and had no ability to host the events, as they were all minors. Duh. O'Neill lost the crown of the head. They couldn't hold a Tumblr convention in a Chuck E. Cheese, but you would imagine that they probably would if they got the chance to.
Oh, God. There's a bounce house in there, the insurance.
Not only that, they also have a ball pit.
Oh, don't worry. The insurance is going to get what am I talking about? There's no insurance.
That's the scariest thing you've said yet.
Oh yeah, O'Neill.
Finance guy quivers in fear.
Dude, I am here outside of the board of directors this weekend. I still have insurance covering my shit. Always have insurance!
Somewhere, I just heard the financial department dialing up a number to somewhere.
Oh, gosh.
And the phone is shaking in their hands. And a single bead of sweat down the cheek. O'Neill lost the crown as the head of the con organizers, or as she would refer to herself, queen of the con, and had now been demoted to an admin or someone to answer the questions the new organizers had no time for themselves. So,
Great plan.
Oh,
De facto PR.
yes, exactly. Like, you, child, you answer all the questions about this fantasy while we do the exact opposite.
this is going to go so well. I can tell that's what this panel is about. It's called Happy Ending Panel. No, it is not. No longer called that. Continue.
I would like to note that pretty much anything past this point is no longer the fault of Lachlan O'Neill, as this was the last point that she had any kind of power. It had all been diverted to the new, what we're going to be referring to as the LLC from this point on, or as I like to call them, the culprits.
I'm down with the LLC.
Yeah, you know me.
Nice, nice.
It's Northern Indiana, but trust me, we know we're well versed.
We're well grounded with our jokes.
We're well versed in the tombs of OCP. OPP. What are we
Great job. Yeah, you really nailed that.
Robocop is happy with those two. You are down with OCP.
Yeah, you know me. You know, I like big butts. Cannot lie.
What those other brothers deny?
When a girl walks in, the itty bitty waist.
And a round thing?
My face.
You can sprout.
I don't care what she's wearing.
I'm not.
I'm hoping I can't touch Terry. Oh, baby, I want to go with you. Take your picture with my. Okay.
The only words that matter to me, turbo vet.
Did you want me to get George Watsky or somebody up here to rap battle you?
No, I wouldn't do too well.
That's the fun part.
You know, well, if it's for charity.
With a change in seats and some newfound abilities to actually make things happen legally, the team set up the groundwork and decided a new name for what will be known as TumbleCon USA!
Oh, yeah, that's perfect. Did they not have anyone check that?
I give it 2 likes. On separate accounts. One of them shall not be named in front of my mother.
I said I'd give it a reblog, but I just never got around to it.
Oh my God.
Originally planned for the summer of 2013, TumbleCon USA was announced in March via the official Tumblr account alongside an Indiegogo campaign asking for $5,000 initial capital to help kickstart the event, as well as intentions to apply for multiple grants. Now, tell me, how hard is it to apply for a grant for a convention?
Incredibly difficult.
Okay, this should go swimmingly then.
Oh yeah, no, unless your convention has something to do with the general health of the world, unless it's a medical, no, you're not getting a grant for us all to get together, put on carpets and screw.
Well, hold on. Now let's listen to the let's listen to the mission statement from what was known as the TumbleCon USA homepage, which But at this point, does anybody else think that TumbleCon USA sounds like a washer-dryer combo convention?
I think I saw that sales ad in the Best Buy catalog.
Who's their director of marketing? Permanent Press?
Somehow Alkali's still doing a panel there.
I'm a whore. This is that. Probably do it.
Oh, man. So, from the TumbleCon USA welcome page. TumbleCon USA aims to be the largest gathering of Tumblr users to date, concentrating on the particulars of this standout social media site. TumbleCon USA will be a place where Tumblr users can express common site-wide interests in both fashion, art, science, and in the world of geekery. I want to point out real quick that this is on the official page for this con that's about to start up, and they already said interest in both fashion, art, science, and the world of geekery. Any mathematicians in here to check this? I could be seeing double, but this looks like 8 to me.
Oh my God.
I can't believe it. I can't believe my eyes. Poor Krusties.
Oh, Krusties.
If you're not a very good, or at least you feel like you're struggling as a comedian, steal from Matt Groening. Early Matt Groening.
Not his material, his wallet. He's so rich, you will be hysterical.
Just open a barbecue pit or something, put Homer's face like rapidly on the side of one of the buildings. Money. Fox will buy you within like 3 months.
Oh my God.
So, this side comprises mostly of people who religiously follow various television shows, movie series, and book series. Notable groups within this geekery side. Remember that word took off? That was word of the year, geekery?
No.
Me neither.
Yeah.
Nice phrasing there.
Well, the cool kid said.
The cool kids in your
You
neighborhood?
want to go hang out in the geekery?
Dude, I'd be geeked to do that.
Was that like was that the spelling bee word of the year? Can you use it in a sentence?
I don't think anyone can use it in a sentence.
What's its origin?
You can always use any word in a sentence. The sentence is, this sentence contains the word geekery. I was horrible at the spelling bee.
Bro, that was so geekery.
Oh God.
Oh shit, I think I left my wallet at the geekery. I got Somebody else took it. I know, I'm gonna find like 13 Batman comics on my goddamn credit card.
I got a nerdy muffin at the geekery.
You can't say
That
nerdy
sounds like an innuendo.
I'm committing the word nerdy muffin.
Oh really? That's where you're drawing the line!
It's already on Urban Dictionary as we speak. Somebody's on their phone right now coming up with something, and somehow I'm gonna be responsible for it.
I apologize for everything I've done in my life up to this point.
Hey, finance expert.
No, and
How do trademarks work?
Now,
You've got about 5 minutes.
whoever's in AD right now, trademark nerdymuffin.com.
It's a race.
Okay, so notable groups within this geekery side would be those who follow BBC Sherlock, CW Supernatural, and J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter. A lot of IPs.
Nerds.
Yes. In addition to bringing together these groups, we are also very interested in promoting and helping with 2 common issues found with Tumblr users, mainly depression and anxiety. We wish to provide informational programming about healthy ways to deal with these conditions. Because, of course, when you go for mechanical problems, you go to the guy who has 13 project cars sitting out on his front lawn.
I resemble this remark.
Using a V6 block as a coffee table,
I'm feeling attacked here.
Shower curtain made of loose hubcaps.
I'm never inviting you to my house again.
Your house sounds like a death trap!
Hey! What are you doing after the gun?
Guys, I'm trying to get Donut Media to sponsor your house, okay?
I'm in, let's go. More power, baby.
James Pumphrey, if you're watching this, hit us up. Okay, despite originally planning to take place in 2013, the dates were finally set for July 11th to 13th in 2014, as well as the name being changed alongside establishing an official LLC. TumbleCon USA would now become simply known as DashCon. Now you found it out, really?
Dun dun dun!
That's like getting spoiled by the Sixth Sense at this point. How did you get registered for the con without knowing what DashCon, Okay. I guess we're just gonna have to roll with this now.
You know, if anyone actually went to Indie PopCon, I think a year or two, I think they were so-called TumblerCon at the time.
Oh,
But they were there.
Spoilers! Hey. Mom's the word. I'm joking, of course, but...
Tell the story.
Okay. Thank you. Despite originally planning... I'm sorry?
Nerdy Muffins, you can stream it on SoundCloud.
What the fuck?
AV, can we have this room after his panel? Because I need to hear this.
I would like to hear the song Dirty Muffin.
If we could close out after the stream, if we could just have that play for the whole audience, just find it.
And you need to find a new hobby, sir.
Dirty Muffins.
He was in the middle of registering it. I think he was trying to go for a bakery just down the street. So obviously in reference to the Tumblr dashboard.
Oh.
Yeah, because that's a bit of a stretch. Why the name change though? Aside from, like I said, sounding like a convention for washer dryer combo enthusiasts,
A jam.
and dragons in stairwells. That's an oldie but a goldie.
I said that to him quietly. I wasn't going to put it on the mic. As soon as you said TumbleCon, I'm like, was there GOH a stair dragon?
I am the person.
And I'm like, I'm not going to say that on the mic, but you did, so thank you.
I just want to say, unfortunately, it'll be a bit later, but Alkali will be leaving us in a little bit. He'll be transforming into a magical dragon later in the show. That transformation sounds like it's coming closer and closer.
Understood.
No, only because looking at his face, eventually, you're just going to see a cloud of smoke.
I have a feeling the magical dragon I was supposed to turn into wandered away and got drunk.
Also, there usually is a puff of smoke around Alkali, pretty much all the time.
You shut up!
That's just a general radiant smoke. It's not a puff.
Let's stop talking about my cloud of smoke, okay? Smells like college.
It's just burning oregano. That's all it
Just
is.
burning oregano.
It's just burning oregano. That's what's
No,
happening.
man, I'm just tired. I had a long
I'm
trip.
so tired.
I had a long trip, a long hour-and-a-half car ride.
What you know? Stop talking
So, the name was changed because Tumblr.com actually did not officially sanction the convention.
Shocker.
So the LLC cannot legally associate the website in any planning or promotional materials. And here's where the tragedy begins.
Wait, here's where it begins? I thought we started at teen and then to nerdy muffin.
No, the rest of filling the house of cards on top of the San Andreas fault.
Jesus.
Yeah.
And now Shaq's about to dunk on the Clippers. Just down the road.
It's a sports reference. Can somebody fill me in on this?
We're so deep into the metaphors here, we'll be fine. I believe in you. Keep
Fair
going.
enough.
It's
Fair enough.
frantic enough the algorithm can never reach us. The convention hoped to attract anywhere between 3,000 to 5,000 attendees. Minimum age was set to 14, but photo ID would be required for certain panels and live events restricted to 18 plus. And the draft schedule was full of intriguing topics of discussion, support-oriented panels, fandom gathering presentations, live concerts, a video game and board gaming area, and even the promise of a ball pit. Des?
They should have gone with Bouncy House.
We should have queued that picture.
Then they changed the name, so it wouldn't have made sense. So the con will take place in the Schaumburg Hotel and Convention Center in Schaumburg, Illinois. Is it Schaumburg or Schaumburg?
Schaumburg.
Schaumburg. Okay, so Schaumburg, Illinois, with the promises of a live performance from popular steampunk act, Steam Power Giraffe. A nice whistle. They're not here. They're not.
Yes.
Welcome to the stage. No. Surprise guest.
Steampunk giraffe. It's just a giraffe that we put a bunch of metal on. It's like, how nice!
That's why
the fucking head. Oh, it's just dragging because it's like 400 feet long. Ah! Right, like that.
That's where the clouds of smoke were coming from. I promise, officer. A reading from the cast of Mystery Theater podcast, Welcome to Night Vale. Actor Doug Jones, popular for portraying non-human characters in many of Guillermo del Toro's works. You might know him as Abe from Hellboy.
Okay, yeah.
As well as, what's that one? One from Pan's Labyrinth, the one who had the eyeball stuck onto his hand.
Oh, fantastic.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's him.
That's
the same
Doug
guy.
Jones.
Holy
He's,
shit.
I believe, a contortionist, he's like body actor.
Oh, yeah. He is tiny.
He is a very tiny man. It's going to help later.
What?
I've heard that before. Never mind.
Oh my god.
And webcomic artist Noelle Stevenson, who recently took the position as executive producer of the Netflix animated reboot of She-Ra and the Princesses of Power. Ooh. I believe back in 2018. So thanks for that reason. Yeah, real reasons. Get this watch updated. And panels hosted by the user base and committees alike.
I'm so sorry.
Why am I choking up at this? This is it's a tragedy, but I find it hilarious. And panels hosted by the user base and committees alike regarding topics with widespread popularity throughout the entire community, such as LGBTQ+ issues, anime-related issues, video gaming, fan fiction, and whatever the fuck the super Hulak fandom is supposed to be. Anybody?
Sure.
Sure.
It is really hard to riff when you are just scaring the living bejesus out of me. I am very aware of DashCon, but to hear it all laid out in front of me like this is like watching the train that'll never end coming right at
And
me.
it's continuously crashing.
They're never recovering.
This is like watching the plane that you take off that you find out actually is in the beginning of Final Destination. You have your own
It's getting run over by the Infinity Train. It's just gonna happen for a long
It's the
time.
steamroller scene from Austin Powers.
Yeah.
I actually asked somebody, apparently the Super Hulak fandom is a combination of Supernatural, Doctor Who, and Sherlock.
Oh, that's
Like you want all those together in one room.
How nerdy do you have to be?
So,
Imagine the moisture.
Imagine the costume.
I'm in the, okay.
Yeah.
So it would actually be really interesting costumes. Do you imagine a TARDIS-style old, what is it, Chevelle in Supernatural, or Elmo?
Sure.
Chevelle. Okay, cool. I was
And I never watched the show. I just know this because everyone asks me and I had to find out.
You don't have to be defensive, they're both hot. Okay, so another claim was made that the newly established, I can already hear somebody snickering when I said another claim was made, that the newly established DashCon LLC, that they paired up with a charity group known as Random Act, a non-profit that aims to raise money to achieve random acts of kindness all over the world. Something I like to call the Give a Man a Fish Fund. That goes about as well as I expected it to.
Give a man a what?
It's like, I just wanted to point
Give
out
a
the
man
fact
a
that I
fish.
cannot run in this dress. I probably should have skipped some of these.
I mean, no, you should not run in the dress. You could, and we would find it hysterical.
Probably the funniest thing about this panel.
We'll probably
From my
find
side,
out.
at least.
I did not.
I appreciate it, thank you. So, funding was, of course, going to be a major hill climb, up a brick wall. With no actual clue how to budget a convention, the LLC had solicited Tumblr affinity groups to help raise the necessary capital for the event. The actual details of the agreements/relationships with any of these groups were about as clear and present as the Seattle Airport's Hilton's atrium at the last rainforest.
Wow!
You see? You see?
Pull it back, I can pull it back. I'm not out.
There are a few people in the audience going, what don't I know? You don't want to know.
As a former staffer, you don't want to know.
Oh,
Let me know if
sorry,
you want this
you
back
okay?
next year, and I won't do it.
Show me on the doll where the convention touched you.
You don't have a big enough doll.
And then comes the fire truck. Sorry, that is an inside joke between the two of us, because I'm a monster.
Macy's Day Parade, it's all gonna... Continue, please.
Thank you for warming them up. Okay, so, the committees were based on fandoms of media like Supernatural, Teen Wolf. How many times do I have to say this? And Star Trek, with other communities found in YouTube and video gaming, because the first thing anyone thinks of when they hear those particular fan bases is financial prowess. Right? I know, bad side.
That's hard. Over here. This is the official DashCon fingering scenario.
Can you? I'm just wondering. Can you do this? Can you do this?
What is it? Just like the one where you put both of them together and then you look inside?
Oh, we're not.
No, that's a vagina. Yeah, that was.
I'm just wondering if you can do this.
Both hands.
Oh.
No. We can do this. But
You can do it in 2 hands?
I can't.
I can't do it with 2 hands. This is what it's now devolved to. Now the crowd is doing it! You nerds! All of you! Rest in peace, Leonard Nimoy.
If my phone wasn't dead, that would have been a great moment to get a video of the ceremony. It's just...
Oh, get your camera out.
We hadn't even forgotten.
No,
We're gonna do this one real quick. So
Later.
3, 2, hold on. 3, 2, 1, go. The live stream audience is loving this. Because they have no idea what the hell's going on unless you're literally looking from that main camera straight down Main Street.
What we'll do later is we'll get us all doing this. What was it? Nerdy muffin? Nerdy muffin.
So my father's a big Trekkie, and I'm going to hit send.
I'm not going to point out who it was, but somebody in the back is obviously my spirit animal because they're like, I can't do that, but that was awesome. That was so great.
2 points for trying.
I can do this. Woo! That was the Klingon salute, right?
Was somebody invading your Federation territory?
Oh my God. Let's get back into the neutral zone.
Let's get back to it.
Let's get back to the neutral zone. Let's get back to the neutral zone.
The idea was that the a percentage of whatever they could raise through commissions of art and fan things would be used to help fund the convention. The Star Trek committee commissioned, they actually, in example, they had planned to split their funds 60-40 with DashCon LLC, 60% going to the con, the remaining 40% going to helping their own members attend the convention. So they're not apparently paying some of these people who are helping fund the convention. What? Hey?
Good stuff.
What the hell? That's the kind of reaction that you do this fucking panel for. Just getting the question every other sentence. Oh, I hate these people.
You know, I should have saw this as a clue when you told me who was up here.
Oh, trust me, when you hear back some of this stuff, you'll have plenty more reason to hate. Don't worry. Just save some back. Save some for the rest of them.
Same restival for the festival.
Tickets were sold in the summer of 2013. Pre-sale of weekend passes were at $65. At the door, advertised for $80, which is quite high for an unproven fan event. Literally ran by Tumblr users. Tumblr users.
We're at 15.
$80. I want you to remember that.
I don't want to remember that. I'm worried that it would work, and I've been undercharging.
In the meantime, Tumblr was officially acquired by Yahoo in May of 2013, and rumors began to circulate about DashCon not actually being organized and run by fans, but potentially becoming a cash-in for Yahoo.
How fortuitous.
How fortuitous. It's Yahoo, it can't be that fortuitous.
That's the joke.
Nice search engine, by the way.
No, it's a great search engine. If you ever need to find it, just Google it.
Or ask Jeeves. Rest in peace.
Nice.
Okay.
Insert Lycos joke.
I don't want to go too Metacrawler on this.
Okay, back to the dogpile of website jokes.
CompuServe, sorry, DashCon was, wow, that completely missed, thank God.
Yes, CompuServe.
Completely ridiculous idea, as you will later see. DashCon LLC released a statement attempting to put the rumors to rest and state that the money left over from DashCon 2014 was going directly into the following year's convention, and so on and so forth. Lastly, quotes from DashCon Tumblr, July 11th, 2013.
The quotes are always great, aren't they?
They've done so well for their reputation, especially when you have them on record. Lastly, and I love the fact that this is actually pulled specifically from this announcement. There was a much bigger announcement, but this was pulled specifically. Lastly, we stand to make nowhere near $1 million.
Tweet that right now from IFC. Let's see how it's going. Just let us know, we do not
Tweet at Tumblr, live.80furcon.com. You're gonna love it. Just let them know.
My God.
So, once again, lastly, we stand to make nowhere near $1 million.
What does that even mean?
Now hold on. Give them a chance to explain.
Oh, absolutely.
We don't even stand to bring in a figure anywhere near $1 million prior to our expenses being paid out. In fact, given our expenses, we will have less than $100,000 left over from our first convention, and that leftover money will go right into DashCon 2015. This is a perpetual event. That's a good hindsight quote. So we need to make enough money. I want that on a plaque. So we need to make enough for 2 conventions in 1 year. Did I forget the rest of the quote on that? That's what I meant by I want that on a plaque. This is a perpetual event, so we need to make enough for 2 conventions in 1 year. DashCon LLC 2013.
That's a math
We're
major.
in your convention, and you have wallets, and we would like them. Please send your money to Happy Dude here.
To be fair, our sales projection was like at what, 2.3 million?
Oh yeah, we've been working on it.
Yeah, we had to cut it back a little bit for the COVID situation.
Oh yeah, and taxes just destroy you. You know, you don't want to make $1 billion because then you got to pay a whole million in taxes, and that's not worth it. For a moment there, you got to see in my real life and conversations I get to have.
I'm sorry,
how depressed are you now?
I'm sorry, did I strike a nerve talking about?
Just a little bit.
The smoke will rise soon.
Best part is the follow-up. This is quite a feat.
No kidding.
But we want to be able to give people as many opportunities as possible to attend an event specifically tailored for them.
So pay up.
You just gave 400 different topics. How is that specifically tailored to everyone? Q, the Lord of Chaos, will look at this and go, calm the fuck down. My God.
Somewhere Enron's booking is going like, whoa, hold on.
Nice.
At last, things were set in place. The convention weekend was approaching, and only small signs of things becoming unstable had shown.
Sure.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Mainly between the 3...
Scale of metrics. Scale of metrics. I want you to think of this.
Somebody has beer goggles on, but they replaced the beer with Tumblr.
So,
Oxycontin goggles. I'm trademarking this. Nerdy muffin Oxycontin goggles.
Please don't combine those. So, mainly the issues were between the 3 new heads of the LLC, Megan, Kane, and Roxanne. O'Neill recalled in her video that she released in 2018 explaining her involvement in DashCon that there were constant arguments between the new LLC members during the planning of the event. And while she wasn't given much in the way of an administrative position or even that of notable duty, she still was paid in advance for her involvement. Keynotes, a first class, see, this is why I don't belong on a plane, because I can barely say first class. Am I coach? No, your luggage, sir. We have a cage ready for you.
Oh no.
Let me show you where we put the pet cages.
oh, you fly Spirit Airlines too?
I believe I'm strapped to the inside of the wheel well.
No, that's Frontier.
Spirit Airlines, you're probably gonna die.
What are they, Qantas company?
Close enough.
A first-class flight to Chicago the week of the event for what would be a 17-year-old. Yeah, because you need a 17-year-old in first class to get your point across. Paid room in the Schaumburg Hotel, $50 cash. Really? You gave her a first-class flight and $50?
What kind of per diem is that?
Right?
Here's the best part. And what can only be stated as a really expensive tiara from David's Bridal.
What? No. This is not how you write a contract.
Here is a tiara and enough for a Starbucks coffee.
Keep putting that way.
And a Starbucks coffee at the Chicago airport. So.
Or 3 Tim Hortons coffees. Or about 50 from McDonald's.
Sure.
Which means you could waste 49 and still have terrible coffee. Now, July 11, 2014, the day the con stood still. I put headers on these, I hadn't been reading, but this one I wanted to. The original projected attendance was to be somewhere between 3,000 to 5,000 people with headroom for a plausible 7,000 to attend. While I get my water, do we have any guesses to how many actually attended? Don't spoil it! Any guesses?
69 people.
420 people. 420 people.
It wasn't legal yet.
469 people.
I'm going to guess that since this was a basically nationally advertised convention and everything about this screams shit show, that they probably got between 50 and 60,000 people.
The actual attendance number for day one was closer to 350 people.
350 people were on that show. Now,
So
how did I
there-
hear so much about this and that few
So there are fewer people at this convention than we had at your Who's Line.
We're taking it over, everyone!
Who's line 2022? Yeah, that's the year. Damn.
Who's Line 2022? Balls! And they just throw the fucking ball.
We're turning
Presented by
Schaumburg into a ball.
Tumblr.
Remember that?
This is Tumblr, that's right. Oh my god. The whole
Sponsored by Tumblr.
As well, with only a maximum, this is the kicker, with only a maximum of 500 tickets being made available at the door each day.
Hold on, seriously?
Yeah!
Each
How the
day.
hell did I not hear about this? This is amazing.
Yeah, because that's how you get 7,000 possible headroom is by limiting the tickets to 500 a day. Because you don't want to sell all those tickets in the first day.
Okay.
Maybe they just literally could only print 500 tickets.
That's what I was kind of wondering.
And that's why they only were able to get blocked with $50. Because they had to stop at Kinko's first.
They probably hit that bonus number on that game at
Chuck E.
Chuck E.
Cheese.
Chuck E. Cheese, and that's where they got the 500 tickets.
They're just in there like, well, we have to spend this $1 million. We can't.
I'm telling you, if that pile of coins falls right there, our con budget will triple.
Okay.
Also, I need to turn in these 18 million tickets for that tiara.
Nice.
Events attended were clearly poorly planned. Man, were I planning them? If you were there for my PC build on Friday, you would know what that was supposed to refer to. I didn't even finish it.
So that's
One power
accurate.
cable. One CPU power cable stuck behind a giant fan and I couldn't cram my fat hand down in there. And nobody had any Crisco on hand.
Yeah, wait, whoa.
As Jake just reaches under the chair for the industrial barrel, and we're ready for you.
We brought it from the last panel.
All
We're
I'm
good
saying,
to
you
go.
didn't even make an attempt to go to the adult side of the dealer den?
Dude, that's a
I was in a
slippery
pickle.
slope.
Literally.
Hey, I was in a
So
pickle.
be careful.
Hey, I was in a pickle. It wasn't in me.
God. You have 6 minutes to finish your story. I believe in you.
Alrighty. attended were clearly poorly planned. A vendor had to cut bait due to poor sales. What can you expect when your total plausible 7,000 and you barely break 5% of that? The video game room consisted of but one television and one video game console. I bet it was a Dreamcast. Attending minors managed to make it into 18 plus events by simply being allowed into 18 plus events. And the ball pit was sized for 5-year-olds. Speaking of which, let's talk about the ball pit. It was embarrassingly small for the high attendance expected, and somehow was even more embarrassing by the low attendance, which I didn't even think was possible. But it was somehow made an exclusive attraction that required a voucher for an extra hour of whatever you do in a ball pit. So who's responsible for the ball pit?
She was really, wow, okay.
Can you spell that for me?
Let's see.
Ork,
Ting tang, walla bing bang. Ooh, ee, ooh, bing bang.
That's actually, I guess that's how they closed all their meetings. So, ball pit was sized for 5-year-olds. Who came up with it? Lachlan O'Neill herself. She stated how her idea was taken from a YouTube video that she had seen of a social experiment, I know, word's been soured, where you have random strangers jump into a more decently sized ball pit that looks like it was meant for adults to sit in, about 6 to 8 adults, to where they could just have a conversation. Sitting in a neutral environment where they're both like, we're sitting in a fucking ball pit. You care about what we're talking about? No. Let's just talk about whatever.
I like that they can assume that you can have a conversation in a ball pit. Has anybody ever tried to talk in a ball pit?
Listen, I was thinking about some of the quarterlies this year. Incoming! Just gonna get a taxi passing by. So, so she stated how her idea was taken from a video of adults climbing into a large ball pit that looked to...
Because YouTube is the greatest reference for stuff.
Hey, I fixed my brakes with YouTube, okay? And that car is 12 full-size adults and not an emergency route for Danny DeVito. Sorry. Thank you. Apparently that did... Oh, thank you so much. Sean C, everybody.
Yes, Sean C. AV staff, look at this. Above and beyond.
My vocal cords feel much better, thank you.
Me.
So, but apparently that didn't get cleared up at the LLC, and they only supplied one vent for maybe 6 kids. Lachlan figured something else was amiss as she went from a makeshift admin position to a last-second con ops position because there was no other people to run the floor operations. Specifically, getting people their badges and answering questions about the con.
That's called registration and staff! That's just reg and staff! Registration! You can't run a con without reg! And I'm assuming you can't run a con without staff. Shall we try an experiment?
No.
Everyone don't know. Not much of a fucking con, is it?
Hey, it's okay. The Star Trek emissions are going to get the ball pit extended to at least 10 children now.
They're gonna die in there. It's gonna be the first case of drowning in a ball pit. And they'll look at what happened. They go, oh, DashCon, we understand.
We made 3 Chuck E. Cheese jokes, and now you're saying that somebody's going to die in a ball pit? Come on.
That being said, I do apologize, friends. It is 9 o'clock. I do need to head home. This has been wonderful, but I do have to.
Well, we appreciate your patronage regardless.
Alkali, everybody.
Tearjerker for charity.
To everyone out there, I hope you have a wonderful convention. And I heard you sitting over here and making fun of yourself. You notice how many people are still in this room? Shut the fuck up. You're doing a great fucking job.
Thank you so much.
Good to see you guys. Thank you for the panel.
Oh, thank you so much.
Everyone have a wonderful convention. I will see you at other cons or next year.
Drive safe.
Drive safe. Don't drive like I do.
Drive exactly how you normally would.
Yeah, try to miss the cones.
Oh!
That was an inside joke between us.
My friend Bill Murray says, don't drive angry.
Go on, there's a catalog trying to get get through here. So, she had no idea what she was doing and admitted to such. After long periods of trying to make it work, she took initiative for a restroom break. When she returned from con-ops, Kane Hopkins from the LSC was there to berate her for not following procedure and having someone relieve her for a break, despite the fact that there was no one to relieve her for a break.
Yes, I need you to. I'm very angry at you for not having that no one sit in for you.
When she returned to, she was emotional, she was scared, and she was only 17, being expected to know how to run a convention, being taken way beyond her spectrum of understanding. Isn't there a Rick Derringer song like that? Oh, sorry, Ted Nugent, I apologize. I got it mixed up.
I don't want to say this on stage, but I have to at least wait till I swallow.
You totally
Please
wanted
clip
to
that
say
audio.
on
I want
stage.
that as a text tone.
You haven't heard
Well,
the
we
best
have
part.
Splash Zone, so it's not like...
You have no idea how much I want to stay. I gotta go to
Oh,
Hang on.
Next con, Splash Zone. Anyway. So after she was relieved of duty, she took the time to head back to her hotel room, get dressed in her Homestuck cosplay, and went to host her scheduled Homestuck panel, Ask a Troll. During said panel, she was pulled aside by either Megan or Kane and was handed a brown paper bag. Anybody want to know what the brown paper bag was for?
Whiskey?
Whiskey in a bag, huh?
That's what they don't have for.
Do you not remember the who sang the whiskey in the jar? Was that originally a no, moving on.
I'm gonna guess Crystal Tiara.
It was a bag of crisp $1 bills.
469 of them.
Megan or Kate said, "We have no money. We're going to pull everybody into the main ballroom where Tumblr prom is supposed to take place, and we're going to find money."
Wait, what was supposed to take place?
Where the Tumblr prom was supposed to take place.
Teens trying to form a convention think there should be a themed prom based on a web.
The most socially awkward people that you can have on the internet, and you expect them to Sadie Hawkins in a ballroom, hundreds if not thousands of miles away from home, like, oh yeah, I'll talk to other people that I don't know and dance with them.
In person.
Hoping to cope, well, no. So,
Wow.
well, yeah, so, even being told, she was, so basically they said, we don't have any money, we're gonna take everybody into the main ballroom, and we're gonna go get some money.
I think that's called a mugging.
It's not far off. Even being told she was crying the most recently and the most often, so she could be the one to hold the bag and have people put money into the bag.
Wow.
Tumblr admins. Not making assumptions, but...
What if we're going to talk about Discord admins and,
Oh, Jesus!
Oh, God.
Not without a lawyer present. Around 9 p.m., DashCon LLC began to publicly solicit cash donations among the crowd of 350 people in the main ballroom of the hotel, and on social media through PayPal donations. Man, I do need a splash zone for my own stupid laptop. Mustaches are a pain in the ass. I mean, they can be if they're like the prickly ones and you haven't shaved for a while. Anyway. Okay. As they claim that the Renaissance Schaumburg Convention Center, I almost said Renaissance. God, that's two words, immediately one after the other. Renaissance Schaumburg, which almost sounds like a Doctor Who character.
oh yeah.
Maybe it's
A Super Hula character, not bad. Well, it is bad. Trust me, it's bad. You'll hear how it's bad. They
Give
claim
me a drop down for that.
They claim the Renaissance. I did it again. Renaissance Schaumburg Convention Center stated that they would need $20,000 upfront to allow people into the facilities again, or they would have to cancel the event. And even with the initial generosity of the attendees in the ballroom, they were short. About $17,000 short. And they had an hour to raise the money. Dun, dun, dun! Just at that point, I'd just be like, fuck your bag, I'm going home. I know I'm 17, I'll hitchhike, I don't care. I'm sure a random pickup or a random semi-truck driver who looks like he's straight out of Duel will be a better example for me than the 3 chuckle fucks that I'm having to answer to at this convention. Not this one, I promise. Love you guys.
At that convention. This convention.
So, rumors spread about why they suddenly needed another $17,000 despite having already paid $21,000 to the hotel. Some suggested the hotel was already acting judgmental towards the attendees / con in general, and this was an attempt to price out DashCon in the crowd after you've already let them in. Because that's the best way to tell a crowd, or how to properly handle a crowd. You get as many people as you expect to get in, and then tell them to leave. That works, right?
Solid plan.
Work for Guantanamo. Fix it! Fix it! I see you in the White House. Want FBI agent monitoring this right now? Fix it! Oh my goodness. There's going to be a bug in my car after this.
What makes you think there already isn't?
Well, I see
2 words. Drone strike.
Oh man. Is that what's replacing Nerf Wars this year? We just have them outside and the striking is just smacking them against each other. It's basically drone bumper cars. I would actually love that. Can we get these shirts? No? Okay. I looked at that face. It said no.
Yeah,
So,
we've gotten used to that look.
that's a tell. Okay, so others suggested this was a ploy to receive extra funding conjured by the LLC and the hotel was somehow involved. Quote, one attendee to DashCon staff, I donated at least $360 from straight out of my bag and was wondering if I would see any of that ever again. No.
No.
Because
Definition, donation.
nothing says 5 stars on Yelp like holding an event ransom for extra cheddar. Regardless of what the truth was, the attendees in the lobby were furious that the hotel was planning to kick them to the curb, so they began to hold up the 3-fingered salute from the Hunger Games. I'm sorry, the what?
Hey Google.
Isn't it? Wait, I thought you had to do it like. Oh no, something different. I would have preferred that. Which I didn't think was I didn't think that was applicable outside of the bedroom. So they began to sing along as well to "Do You Hear the People Sing" from Les Miserables, and shout various quotes. Get off your phones, you naughty, naughty boys.
I am the chair. I have to respond to messages sometimes, even in panel.
I am
In
ops,
respect, I promise. Please don't fire me.
I'm ops director. When he has to be on the phone, I have to make sure it gets done.
Are you just texting each other?
Shit, he's onto us.
Quick, Jake, say something so he's distracted.
What are you talking about?
Tiara,
This is going.
light bulbs, filaments.
Don't bring up the Edison shit again.
Cody 2012. What?
And shout out various quotes or demand people to read out their frustrations. Tumblr user Chia Thingy provided us with a bit of play-by-play for the night. Quotes of the night. I just don't know how this could happen. I hate the staff. How could they do this to us? I'm not crying. I was just in the pool. Literally. Evidently, staff is used to people.
I'm not crying, you're crying. In the pool.
I'm not crying, I'm just allergic to germs. That's why I'm crying. Evidently, staff is used to people attending for model train conventions.
Oh, that's
Holy shit, nothing can prepare you for this, oh my god.
Well, their conventions stay on track. Oh, come on!
I can't leave this panel. I have to stay here to make sure that the story gets done.
I wonder if steam-powered giraffe performed at that.
I'm pretty sure that, again, their panels are well conducted. That's a twofer. That's an electric truck and a train.
And I'm holding them both against you. LMFAO, people's moms are calling the hotel to demand information. Oh my God. Various fandoms called upon and cheers results, so it's kind of like a roll call. So just like Doctor Who.
Here.
Star Trek.
Yo.
Here.
Fully
Hi, Captain. Make it so.
Captain, I cannot give you any more donations.
Anybody fans of things that don't require a lot of spending money that they can give to other people? No? No? I figured one roll call for that. I'm sorry? Oh. Uh-oh. Laptop shut. That was the bug.
Windows update alert.
Windows update. Your bug has now been installed. Please connect to FBI headquarters to finish installation. Carry on my wayward son is played. Massive sing-alongs occur. Mockingjay signed again. Now we're singing Les Mis.
That gets really nerdy.
Joseph's Fag and Crisp. People saying, tweet Misha, tweet John Green, tweet Mark Ruffalo. Please no Tumblr, what are you doing? Imagine them screaming, you're better than this, don't do this!
Can you imagine like the actual employees of Tumblr like in their office somewhere? What the hell?
No, because they would have said no to this shit. They would have heard ball pit and be like, get out.
As a 17-year-old comes in with their proposal for it.
Well, go ahead. I'll be a young Tumblr, and you try to convince me that DashCon is a good idea and we should endorse it. Ready? Go.
All did.
Get out.
Crystal tiara.
I did not hear that door click.
I saw it on YouTube.
$50 in a brown paper bag and a questionable flight.
Go on. After many minutes of emotion, heartbreak, schedule changes, and off-key wallowing, the fundraiser was unfortunately successful.
They raised $20,000?
They raised the $17,000 left over that they needed, plus the $3,000 from the bag, meaning that they continued on for their beautiful con weekend.
And this is day one?
This is night one.
Oh my God.
My gosh. Tell me this is a video game. 5 nights at DashCon. Please. The ball pit stalks you throughout the weekend.
This is like that episode of Dragon Ball Z where the plan's supposed to blow up in 5 minutes, but it goes on for like 4 seasons.
It's like the game. It's like the game. Don't shit your pants, but it's called Don't lose your shit at DashCon. Don't lose your wallet at DashCon. Like breaking down a wall between you and the unknown to show your determination, only to discover the wall was housing a lion enclosure. Upon success, the attendees broke out into a hearty rendition of We Are the Champions and what will be the least appropriate sing-along of the night.
Because you won.
We are the champions. This is what we're returning to. Fuck.
In the
I
bar.
paid my dues.
Time after time.
Time after time. No, we're not. No, stop that clapping. We're not getting into a sing-along unless suddenly somebody walks in with a brown paper bag and starts demanding money.
On it.
Cool, I need Sunday funds.
AB, I request a brown paper bag from operation. Can you put that request in for me?
If somehow anything related to DashCon becomes a theme at any furry convention in the future, I'm sorry.
Just do.
Remember how we
Now,
had
the
the...
trademark for Nerdy Muffin. We're going to have a convention name / dash with this theme.
We also
We have a
have
ball pit.
we also have a home appliance convention that we could tie in.
If only there was a large manufacturer of appliances in a central location of a state that a popular furry convention is held in.
If only furries knew how to use such appliances. Wash your fursuits.
Well, there's my first panel.
But then we'd have to call Alkali to clean out all the fursuit drain. It's called a callback.
After many tears were shed over the horrors of realizing how fucked this was, O'Neill was still dressed as a troll. which was only feeding the negative press over the internet as people had been sending images of her with the brown paper bag collecting money, and she had been receiving a lot of vitriol, as well as possibly believing that there were death threats placed against her.
Wait, Siri, what is
She's the
vitriol?
only face of this con. The other three are fucking nowhere to be seen. Nowhere.
You're telling me there are negative comments on Tumblr?
What? No! No!
Not just Tumblr.
No, sir!
It's going to be a bit of a heartbreak, but YouTube as well.
Next thing you expect to hear from you is Twitter. Now that would just be facts.
Also, can you spell vitriol? I don't know what that actually.
That's a big word.
B-I-T?
V-I-T.
R-I-O-L.
Oh, God.
It's how...
I learned something today.
It's how most of my family learned to spell. They asked me.
Okay, the weirdest thing I have... Never mind.
No, go for it.
No, you can't. Whoa. You can't stop that. The weirdest thing.
No. If we know anything about trains, is that it's on the tracks, we see the wall, just let it roll.
Nope.
Later.
I'm drawing a line!
Poorly.
A lot better than they did. But at 10 p.m., she was only concerned with getting out of her troll pains. When she made it to her hotel room, it didn't take long for her to realize that her key no longer worked for the room. She was locked out.
She's having a great day.
I know, right?
Great night one.
And I can imagine some of the dumb questions that she probably had in an Ask a Troll panel, because usually there are some questions that are just like the obvious ones of like, okay, you specifically came in here just to make a dumb joke. Or to make a reference that is just, ooh, look at me, I'm special. Like me. I've made a whole panel about it. Okay, so, not only locked out from her clothes and a working sink, but her personal effects that she would need to last the night, including identification, cash, and pretty much anything you need to survive a night in Schaumburg. Which I've never actually been to Schaumburg, Illinois. How much do you actually think you need to survive in a night in Schaumburg without a hotel room?
$69.
$69?
Yes.
What did I have in my kit when I was deployed to Iraq? Let me see here.
I said Schaumburg, not Gary. I'm sorry, did I state a factual statement? Oh wait, no, sorry, that's Detroit. Gary these days is basically just like the cleanup. So, she was locked out from her last bastion of hope, and at a time when the world just seemed to have stopped in front of her eyes. Now, why would she be randomly locked out of her room? And all because of why they had to make the money. How to lose a convention in 60 minutes.
We're on day 2, right?
No, this is still talking about day 1. The majority of what was going on was day 1. For those not familiar, cons are not cheap. You've seen Alkali's face. I'm pretty sure he left early just so he could have a breathing moment in the car. Which I bet if anybody looked in the parking lot, there's probably a steering wheel and some broken glass somewhere in the park.
Breathing moment, a little bit of smoke.
Cinders on the ground in the shape of human footprints.
If you hear Thomas the Dang Pigeon on the way out of the parking lot, don't worry, he'll be fine. Okay. The money from attendance tends to be the major draw for a convention, as it's needed to help preserve the spaces needed for the event. A con will usually make an agreement with a hotel where a room block is established or a set number of rooms. Is that pretty good so far?
Basically, that's the generic concept. X number of rooms equals X amount of con space.
Yes. So you make that expectation, you set the amount of like, okay, this is how many people we expect, so this is how many rooms we expect to sell. So this agreement, DashCon had penned an agreement with the Schaumburg Hotel and Convention Center, stating that they would pay an initial cost of about $21,000 to start up the event, and the attendance money would later handle the remaining $20K. The block was assessed to accommodate at least 3,000 attendees. With weekend passes costing at least $65 with the early bird special, there wasn't much concern of how they would make the money. What? You don't believe that? Oh, people of foresight. This whole panel is just to try to get somebody to inadvertently spit. It was all
Stop drinking this.
I had replaced your water with a spit take prop. So, The low attendance that would follow showed the hotel that they were not likely going to be able to pay. Word got out to the hotel staff that during the period between can these guys pay, word got out to the LLC that during this period between can these guys pay and give us our money or go home, either Megan or Kane pulled the LLC credit card from the hotel service desk. Is that a no-no move?
They did what now?
I believe they had taken the LLC credit card from the desk. So, potentially, they could not charge to it.
But they should have the info on file. I don't... Like, did they not take the information? That's like saying, I'll give you my ID, and then you not writing the information down. Like,
This is a
what?
convention ran by the villains from Rocky and Bullwinkle so far.
That's a disservice to Boris and Natasha. They were much like Wile E. Coyote is smarter than these people at this point.
At least Wile E. Coyote knows how to run a panel.
He knows how to Amazon like a beast. Think about it.
No. I got a thing to do. And I can barely get that process through my head. This would most certainly prompt the hotel to seek their money, so with no card tied to the hotel from the LLC that promised accommodations to their staff and special guests, everything was shut down, including rooms that were already promised to people already trying to stay there. One of those guests was the cast of Welcome to Night Vale. They were locked... Yeah, holy shit, right?
Right?
They were one of their biggest draws, and I'll explain why that sucks even more. They were locked out of their room just as well despite being promised accommodations by the LLC. The shadiness alongside witnessing the crowd blowing up over the whole fiasco had them realize their best option was to split. And they were right. When you smell gas, you don't think, oh, that's a weird smell. I should follow that to figure out where that's going on. Mind if I don't smoke?
Can't see that well.
No. You see, you smell, you look around, and you decide, this is a trash fire on its way. Time to peace out.
Look, see, and smell. That's what I do before I enter a hotel room at a convention too. But, rule of thumb.
Damn. And then
Follow the signs. In a regular smell, small puffs of smoke, and a loud voice. That's another clue.
and if you
It's a
fall
bad pullback.
and if you fall in the mushrooms, you can find a Motel 6. Okay. Yeah. So they arranged an Airbnb in the area, left the hotel, and made an announcement on social media that they had decided to cancel their panel at DashCon. The major problem with this was that the fact that their panel was not included in the weekend passes. The speed of external. Okay. Whoever spiked his drink, please stop. Because I'm sure these mics aren't cheap.
They're insured.
And nobody's ears are cheap on the live stream. Trust me, I love you. So, your problem. I keep losing my place. That's the problem. I just keep looking away and look at these reactions, and I completely lose my place. I gotta get this mouse over here. So, it was not included in the weekend passes, but was a special event that you had to pay extra to attend. Ooh, that stings.
Yeah.
You can hear the sound of some synapses going off, and people deciding this is a complete fuckfest. This has gone tits up, like a cow in a tumble dryer.
In a tumbler dryer?
Connecting it all together. So after after deliberations.
I don't know what happened to the TR.
I'm sure at this point she's trying to pawn it so she can get back into her room. I actually looked up the most expensive TR offered David's bridal, $250.
Oh, hey, Nikki, I know what you're doing. I'm coming back looking fabulous.
After
How
deliberations,
late are they open?
can we DoorDash to David's bridal? This is the future.
I've got a brown paper bag.
That's never a good sign when the first thing somebody says is, I got a brown paper bag.
And a DoorDash.
Let's make a con.
If I have a tiara tomorrow morning, I want all of you to, like, spread the word.
No, if he has a tiara tomorrow, nobody say what it's
Oh,
from.
wait, you could make that happen. Oh, my goodness.
Somebody in the live stream could probably make it happen.
I request mine with some blue sapphire.
They sent those
Please.
dildos to that nature preserve that got taken over by those militias in Oregon.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure somebody can get a tiara here.
Can't forget the brown paper bag.
Amy, please tell operations we need a tiara in secondary. No, I'm just kidding.
Hold the gorilla shit. Okay, after deliberations had gone about the LLC, there was now a variance of prizes offered in place of the panel to those who paid. One of those prizes was an extra hour in the ball pits. Things have been established. You now know what the extra hour in the ball pit joke is really about. Incompetence. Much as the story with most ball pits when you're in your 20s or 40s.
Feel attacked.
When it's your only attraction. Because literally everybody else is leaving, including artist Noelle Stevenson, who also promised the same thing and was given just as much. She was offered and accepted a space with the Night Vale cast as she would have otherwise had nowhere else to go. Bright spotted the fiasco though, with guests. Doug Jones stuck around long enough to do a meet and greet with fans, still hanging around in the hotel. Likely trying to get a spot in someone else's hotel room, knowing he no longer had one of his own. I mean, being in a small enough space, you could probably also get into like one of the cupboards if you get the mini fridge out. Just get like get an extra pillow and tell the maid not to open the cabinets. At least until like, courtesy calls.
I imagine a contortionist could probably find a place to agree.
I'm living inside of the air conditioner. So, why could the LLC not hold this together? Tumblr. Because there was a lot of infighting and segregation that left Roxanne out on her own, the other two LLC members, Kane Hopkins and Megan Eli, she also happens to work here in Indianapolis, neither here nor there. I'm not saying go after her, I'm just saying. If you see her, tell her Floof Electric sends his regards. The day before DashCon, Kane was already showing signs of aggressive nature by jutting around the room, yelling at everyone and being a general dick, sending O'Neill sobbing out of the room. Explains why he said that she cries a lot. Yeah, when you yell at a 17-year-old for not knowing anything about something that she's given no instruction on, no shit, she's gonna be crying a lot. Damn, you bawl a lot, don't you? I'll tell you what, I got this brown paper bag, go give me some money. Get this brown. Hey. Let me just tell you something right now. Your dog died. Your dog died, okay? I ran it over with the car. Your dog's dead. Okay? And it voted for breakfast to leave. So here's a brown paper bag. Go get us some money. And let those little crocodile tears roll down like a river. Okay. There was also a hierarchy dispute involving Kane and Megan teaming against Roxanne by offering her a contract to act as a secretary, a job title that differs from O'Neill's title, but I imagine would do pretty much the same thing. Everything that they have to do with con. The contract would also award Megan and Kane the titles of president and vice president of the LLC, allowing them to make the decisions for what would be done with the con funds.
They just formed this contract like in 3 minutes, just going, hey, let's...
Is anybody else starting to hear this as like an Ocean 11 plot? Oceans, point 35. All this occurring the day before their first convention is already grounds for something fantastic to happen, but only in hindsight. Especially knowing now when O'Neill said that both Kane and Meg were already shady characters. One of them actually has a criminal record. Surely she can't make a judgment of character based simply off of hearsay. Hearsay she directly heard in front of her. Also, remember the Random Acts charity I mentioned before? Turns out, they never actually had a partnership. DashCon LLC completed a form and were approved to hold a fundraiser for Random Acts at the con, but there was no official partnership agreement made, and there were never talks of one in the first place. Recommending anyone, Random Acts released a statement denying any partnership with DashCon LLC, smartest move so far in this story. Recommending anyone who donated to contact them immediately, second smartest move, and the best move, always obtain a receipt while making donations. Unless you're donating to the Floof Electric Buy Me an EV Alpamino Conversion Fund. It'll make...
Which could be accessed by the brown paper bag.
The one that's written in Sharpie over in the corner there. I'm sorry about the tears on it. I had a bit of a moment.
Just move the tiaras to the side.
That's not even the
I'm
good
hooked on this.
That's not even the good one. That's the one that we got as the placeholder. The unwanted sequel. It's a bit
Yeah, it is.
foreshadowing, isn't it? Despite what you've heard tonight, the LLC still went ahead announcing that they would not be giving refunds for the full weekend attendance package.
They already spent the money, didn't they?
I'm sorry, did we just have a random, I'm sorry, what was that?
Did they? I'm worried that they spent the money already. I forget anything after just the...
Yeah,
I think you and
I'm
them-
surprised you're this far along. Clearly I lost that crystal tiara.
And we're still farther along than the LLC itself. As well as announcing their full intention to run a second convention in Indianapolis.
We have no affiliation.
Yeah. Camera. We have no affiliation.
No affiliation.
That's right. The epitome of high hopes and low attendance almost brought the disaster fuckfest to this very area. Possibly this hotel. Well, no, but no.
They would have fit at our original hotel, the Hilton, and planned to be in the convention center. That's what they would have done.
What year did they? Is that hotel still up?
The Hilton?
Yeah.
It's been a parking lot for at least 5 years.
At least 5 years.
Appropriate.
How appropriate? That's about the time I'm sure they would have gotten around to getting that con there. How great would it have been if they scheduled it for the same day, like the day before DashCon was actually, or DashCon 2 was supposed to open up. It's like, okay, we'll open the doors tomorrow, and who's bringing that bulldozer? Why is he driving straight through our? Oh no.
Plenty of room for the ball pit.
Well, at least I already took my card from the main desk, so it doesn't matter. I also took somebody else's card. I don't even know whose it was.
They could just relocate their con to the Target. Jake knows where I was going with that.
Dead mall with like a raccoon somewhere scurrying around following your mascot.
Apparently you've seen this parking lot.
Wait, that wasn't the ballet?
I mean, it's the cutest ballet I've ever seen.
I know, but that explains why I haven't seen my Focus in a while. Okay, so it could have outpriced. I'm not making that joke anymore. If not, okay, so it could have potentially been at this very hotel. If not for the fact that the Daily Dot published an article in September of 2014 stating concerns that DashCon had renamed/rebranded themselves as Emoticon. How it was scheduled to be in the same venue as DashCon, how they originally announced it. And it was going to be organized by 2 of the original 3 DashCon LLC founders. Guess which 2?
Mr. Felonious. Is this when it premiered would it premiere the Emoji Movie? That gem. That gem. I heard that. That's a wonderful film.
I don't even know if I can be seen in the same room anymore.
Oh. I see our next mistake movie. Oh God, there's the glare.
Oh boy.
That's the
Oh boy. I'm gonna be sick that year. Just letting you know beforehand, just so we get that out of the way. DashCon Emoticon Indy denied that they were the same as DashCon LLC via a post on their Tumblr where they suggested while Emoticon was in fact being organized by the 2 of the original 3 owners of DashCon LLC, The two events are otherwise unrelated. How great would it have been if they actually had posted that from the DashCon LLC official page, like, we as a Moticon are not the... Wait, reading that from the right... Oh, God damn, it's already up. How many people? 10,000 blocks?
Oh dear.
Oh no.
Here. Can you imagine how many likes that would get?
Can we buy a boat?
So that's a really big brown paper bag.
I think at this point it gets upgraded to sack.
Satchel. We're going with a brown satchel at this point.
Oh, fancy. Now, satchel's too rich for their blood.
We're in the paper zone still.
So you have one less mind organizing, but both of these minds are still the ones who helped make DashCon. They also claim that Emoticon will be functioning under a very different infrastructure that DashCon did, with a more experienced and well-rounded staff, aka a staff. Again, we know which two are in power. Emoticon would later be canceled with their official Tumblr account citing personal, financial, and safety issues, aka the Indie Convention Center seeing the videos of an angry ballroom, cancellations left and right, and one too many ball pit memes before pulling the plug. This put Meg and Kane in an extra $120,000 in debt.
Whoa. That's the definition of escalated quickly.
So it turns out there is such thing as financial karma. Where are they now, and how do we stop them?
The movie.
The movie, the book.
No, they already made that. You were talking about it earlier for some reason. I don't know. I blacked out. I just couldn't believe it. It's like watching my hero kick a puppy, and then handing me a brown paper bag and sending me out to the fields. Now, the LLC had dissolved. Everyone seems to be keeping to themselves. Lachlan O'Neill uploaded a video on July 11, 2018, 4 years after the infamous fundraiser night, explaining the weekend from... There was nothing fun about that razor. Unfortunate razor. Oh, we have TR for our lovely hotel liaison. I'm going to Vicky, blessed be to our wonderful staff. Thank you
Yes.
for supplying us with...
I don't want you to get up.
Here he is, Messiah sing.
Millie Barlow dress. I've learned to never say, I wonder if we can get something around Nikki, because that ends up happening.
I'll tell you what, if the cameras go off, no. I was going to say on stage here, no. Nobody wants to see her. And I left all the rest of my clothes in the hotel room. So, Megan Eli is now a consumer affairs analyst here in Indianapolis. Probably looking at her own backlog being like, what the fuck went wrong? No, just me. Oh, what does a consumer affairs analyst even do?
I have no idea.
Anybody?
I analyze consumer affairs.
Well, okay, we'll go with that. The comments are already going after me. The audio in episode 103. I'm sorry, this ain't Dave. Hold on. Again, it's for him. So, Roxanne Schwetterman is a sales and catering manager with Hilton Hotels in Ohio. I didn't say exactly where she was because she was one of the more innocent people, including Lachlan herself. She didn't really do all that much in this movie. But you know who did? Kane Hopkins. He kept up his lifestyle.
Because, you know, no villain has ever been named Kane.
I remember...
No offense to anyone who's named Kane in here.
I remember one about this one guy, he had this brother named like Bale or something. And they were arguing about a rock or something. I don't know.
Like I said, I don't want to think...
Wes Pearl, if you're watching this... Well, I know you're already watching this. You saw the dress in the thumbnail.
TR.
Kane Hopkins kept up to his lifestyle of being a criminal scumbag. Like I mentioned before. He has been banned from a multitude of Walmarts around this area for a multitude of shoplifting offenses. claiming he went to an Ivy League college despite Ringling College of Art and Design not being an Ivy League college, being involved in some scandal involving a Hive Swap animation Kickstarter with someone named Andrew Hussey.
You mean, wait.
I got one of the crowd. Yes, the one that was the Homestuck animation collaboration thing.
You mean Andrew Hussey, the creator and writer of Homestuck?
Yes. Oh my God. Yes. I knew that the reach would grab him. It is so sweet to witness the misery of others for stuff that does not matter. Just feed me with your energy. Anyway, and attempted to relate his criminal background and shoplifting crimes to the suffering of a person of color in the face of police brutality. Not by any means illegal, just thought you needed more fuel to the fire.
Jeez.
Long story from Mendez. He works as a VFX artist in Seattle, which means he does commissions on the corner somewhere for coffee.
Freelancing, we call it.
Isn't that a model of Mitsubishi?
Oh my God. Did you really just throw the Mitsubishi
Freelancer? Oh man, I wish I was in the car panel earlier today. The ball pit's last known location was being rented out for a kid's birthday party. This was confirmed by O'Neill, who attempted to purchase a piece of meme history, aka the ball pit. And if anybody here makes an extra hour in the ball pit, enamel pit, talk to me. Hit me up at Floof Electric on Twitter, on Telegram. I don't care how long it takes. I don't care if it's 2 years later and I'm old and decrepit. Maybe I got in a car accident. Maybe I moved to Tijuana. I might not even be speaking English anymore. Just get this message to me. I need one of those pins. Now, what have we learned today from this event?
I think I haven't learned. I think brain cells have died listening to this bizarre craziness that should not actually be reality, but was.
That was DashCon?
Yes.
The greatest one ever.
Were you here for the last 5 years? Oh, fair point.
Well, last year.
I don't know. I think I was looking up. Dual citizenship at the time. I'm gonna get hate for that one. Thank you all so much for joining us for this panel. I appreciate your attendance for this. Thank you very much to Jake Money. Give a round of applause if you would, please. AV staff. They have 4 hours sleep for something funny. As well as our other comm staff that has helped us throughout this panel as well, especially for our new Miss IFC. Thank you very much.
Yes.
AV, by chance, I don't know if you did we find Kiki Muffin or whatever it was? Nerdy Muffin.
Yes, did we find Nerdy Muffin on SoundCloud? You weren't looking? Do you even do your job? I didn't take that. Leave my mic on. I am sorry. That's the night that Floof Electric got chased out of East Indianapolis in nothing but a dress and some cheetah print shoes. Oh wow, but I'm looking goddamn fabulous doing it.
I will find Nerdy Muffin and I will throw that on my Twitter later somehow.
Yes, please. At any one of, yeah, pretty much any one of us 3 or your congressman Nerdy Muffin on SoundCloud. Don't explain anything. You're prepared, just share that song. Get it everywhere. I don't care if you have to go to, like, Jeff Bezos' butler, the people running the charity organization here, or if you got to get into talks with, Ish. No, that's not a good idea.
I want to hear Nerdy Muffin at the dance.
Yes.
But whoever looked up earlier, is Nerdy Muffin the name of the band or the name of the song?
I don't know.
The person left.
No, they found it? Have you found it? Yes, let's hear this. I'm sorry?
I literally can't put that picture. I'm so sorry.
It's alright. If anybody finds the song, please, at Floof Electric or at
Jake Bunny.
or at
Panda's Panda.
okay, I thought you was gonna say Alkali Bismuth.
Oh,
Yeah, be here for that. Make sure to let him know as well. We found it. So,
what the hell?
again,
Why did 87,000 people tweet this at me?
I have more people retweeting this at me than that went to that damn convention in Schaumburg.
Yeah, that means
And once again, thank you very much. I appreciate your patronage for this. It took a little bit to get to working this out, especially the dress as well. Don Stevens, we all love you. Thank you very much for what you do. You keep being you beautiful, beautiful person. And that CEO.
Guys, if you are familiar with
that to your face.
if you're
In his dress.
If you're familiar with the dollar, yes, Dan, he has to do so much research for the subjects on that podcast. So knowing that Floof trying to bring this panel up here had to do so much research.
I had to delete.
Make sure it's correct.
I had to delete so much of my search history afterwards.
Oh no!
Out of my own shame.
That's fantastic work. Did you guys have fun?
Yeah.
Would you be interested in seeing this return next year?
Yeah.
Wait.
Feedback at IndieFurCon.com. Feedback at IndieFurCon.com.
Yes.
If you see a panel that you enjoy, let us know because that's how we make it come back and program again.
You should tag that CEO in this.
Hashtag feedback, hashtag nerdy muffin.
If you seriously send an email to feedback@IndieFurCon.com that is just hashtag nerdy muffin, we'll know exactly what panel you're talking about.
And if you're a fan,
The rest of the staff won't.
and if you're a fan of history that you're not familiar with and have a bit of a stronger stomach for certain things, check out the dollop on major podcasting networks. Like you can get it from Spotify, you can get it from iTunes. It's a hilarious thing starring Dave Anthony and Gary Reynolds. Two amazing. That'd be great if you just poked his head up into the door. He's like, "Hey, Garrett!" Thank you so much. Thank you,
Silver Gattoman, he bought me a coffee. Silver Gattoman, here is the song for thee. He likes to video all the panels at the cons. You should go and watch them whether they are short or long. Silver Gattoman, you video that's not a jibe. All of you go to his YouTube channel and like and subscribe.